What's that? Hey, Orange. My name's Wasabi.
And welcome to this episode of Radio DMG. I am your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and we're here on sunny, somewhat, March, what day is this? Oh, March 8th, 2012. It's been a little bit since we've done a Radio DMG or a Newsity episode, and my apologies for that. Other stuff comes up. It's sometimes kind of a little difficult to schedule things properly or to, be doing things at that point, to sit down and actually record, because I've been really busy, and there's a lot which we're going to update you on real quickly. In fact, this is going to be kind of an odd episode, because instead of doing a general Newsity episode, we're just going to go ahead and run through some of the news, like we're going to cue the theme and all that, but then we're just going to do a little bit about what's coming up with this website, and just a few things about what I've been playing. And welcome back to Radio DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and we're going to go ahead and go over the ridiculous amount of news which happened between these episodes. We have a lot to talk about. And honestly, we're going to go ahead and get to it because, it's not really news until it's newsity. Until I talk about it, it's not really that important. So anyways, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. But here's what we didn't miss it. We just didn't care about it yet enough to record it for you. And that happens. Well, anyways, the PlayStation Vita launched in the United States and Europe and Australia and the United Kingdom. And with the combined sales from December 17th in Japan to the launch everywhere, they broke 1.2 million units in sales. Woo! It took them 3 months. Yay! It's a success. Well, anyways, that's definitely a success, especially compared to what was it like? Over 1 million, or wait, no, it was like 2 or 3 million iPads within the first month of its availability, and 3.6 million Nintendo 3DS units in under 2 months. Yeah, the PlayStation Vita is a rousing, smashing success for Sony right now. Absolutely. No joking. Complete success. Anyways, the best-selling PlayStation Vita game was Little Deviants, which was a forced bundle for a lot of Vita owners. Which, yeah, a lot of people pre-ordered it, or they went in there and they had to buy it as part of a bundle, or they bought the system, and when they bought the system, the people were like, "Here, take Little Deviants with you!" Or this 4 gig memory card. Oh God, please take it off our hands. No one would buy this in their right mind normally. Please. Or they'll kill our daughters. Anyways, that's pretty much what happened. So the Little Deviants was the best-selling PS Vita game, where a lot of it ended back up on GameStop shelves, where it was shipped off to Africa to entertain or to torture little children in Coney's army. Yay! So, let's get to another thing that happened recently. Well, the Nintendo 3DS hit 5 million units in Japan and crossed over 6 million units within 1 year of its release in Japan, which means it's about, 16 or 17 million units worldwide. I think they wanted to hit 18 million units within the first year, but that didn't happen, and Nintendo was like, "Aww. Aww. Aww." But yeah, one more thing that's going to be selling a lot of those is they also announced several new bundles for it. They announced Fire Emblem in Japan, and they also put out a Atomic Blue Nintendo 3DS. It's really pretty looking, and they also announced a special edition Fire Emblem one that's that same Atomic Blue, and some more bundles like for Monster Hunter, and yeah, so many things coming out. Oh, there's also a Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, which is coming out real soon in Japan. And Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance the localization for it has already started. In fact, much of the voice acting, or rather some of the voice acting, okay, we're not really sure the specified amount of voice acting, but the voice acting for it, some of the voice recording is already done. In other words, that means the English script is done and they're recording the voices for it, which means we will probably see it sometime in June or July. Another thing that we might see in June, well, if you're in Japan, you're going to get to see a direct sequel to Pokemon Black and White in Japan in June. And Nintendo of America announced that it'll be out in the USA in fall, which, by the way, fall is from September 22nd to December 21st. So probably end of September or early October for the release of Pokemon Black and White 2. Actually, it's Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2. Or in the US, Pokemon Black version 2 and Pokemon White version 2. It takes place directly after the sequels in the first game and has to do with Kyurem, Black Kyurem, and White Kyurem. Kyurem is this really wussy-looking gray ice dragon thingy that was... Okay, in Pokemon Black and White, as part of the storyline, there were apparently like 2 dragons or something, or 1 dragon. I'm not really sure. I have to go back through and play a little bit more there, or read some of the stuff in it, but... Basic idea was there was this huge, ridiculous dragon. It was fighting, and it got split into 3 or something. Or it was 2, and it got split up. But Reshiram and Zekrom. Lord Zekrom. He hurts Power Rangers. Anyways, they were... It's a sequel, a direct sequel to the first game, Black and White, which is unprecedented for Pokemon. Usually you get like red, blue combination, or red, green combination of the 2, yellow. And then you get gold, silver combination of the 2, crystal. Ruby, sapphire combination of the 2, emerald. Diamond, pearl combination of the 2, platinum. People were expecting black, white combination of the 2, gray. And instead of that, Game Freak's like, nah, we're going to do a direct story sequel. Because we have some type of bizarre, twisted story to tell you, and by golly, we're going to complete it. So that's what they're doing. They're going to give us a direct sequel for the first time in a Pokemon mainline game. However, it's not on the 3DS. This one's on the Nintendo DS with DSi features, meaning that there are some features that it will take. Like, you know how the DSi and the DSi XL can access more internet portals than the original DS or DS Lite. So they're taking that into account, and there might be some type of app for the Nintendo 3DS that corresponds with Black 2 and White 2. Haven't heard too much about that, but we'll find out more on that. Also, prolific Japanese investment newspaper Nikkei, not to be confused with Nikki from Swapnote, mentioned in an article that Nintendo has been working with several developers to revive dead franchises on the 3DS and eventually the Wii U. The paper specifically cites the Dreamcast virtual horrific pet sim, Watch Out, Seaman! Apparently, Ute Saito, damn Utes, Ute Saito, the director of the original Dreamcast monstrosity, already hinted that he was working on a portable version of the nightmarish pet sim with Nintendo. And Nintendo and Nikkei confirmed it. My opinion on this is, wow, that means that they could potentially go back there and revive other horribly mangled or forgotten and dead Dreamcast franchises. I'm thinking like Virtua Fighter or Sonic or, Shenmue, Panzer Dragoon, Phantasy Star Online. You know, the franchises that have been dead forever and haven't had any games come out for them at all. Man, I wonder what that little blue hedgehog and his weird little friends are doing. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a Sonic game since the Dreamcast? Like, I think Sonic Adventure. Yeah, I think they were going to put out some type of Sonic Adventure 2 at some point with like this black and red hedgehog in it, but that never happened. And, well, who knows? Maybe it could have been good. But we'll never know. Never came out. So, Nintendo also announced, they had this thing called Nintendo Direct, where they had Satoru Iwata talking out of the little sound recording studio they have at Nintendo. Actually, it was really just their creepy torture dungeon where they're keeping Sandra Fluck. Anyways, he announced that they're doing a new brain training game, which will be about memory retention and pattern recognition and be a lot harder. And they gave no other details on that. They also announced that Game Gear games are coming to Virtual Console in March. Guess what? This month. In fact, in the US, we're getting those next week. This week we got Punch-Out, and then we also got Fun Mini Golf Touch, which actually allows you to play as your Mii, but it distorts the way they look, so it's really like you're playing with a Microsoft avatar based on your Mii, which I just took as a opportunity to play as Nikki or Nestor, because Nintendo Power released a Nestor Mii. Also, speaking of weird Miis that they announced and they released, Nintendo put out a Rainn Wilson Mii with gold pants, so it's an official special edition Mii, on their Facebook, which was the weirdest thing. I mean, Rainn Wilson, or however, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Anyways, he's the guy that plays Dwight on The Office. And that would be like, say, Nintendo of Japan does this with different comedians or with crazy pop bands like, I think, what is it, ABK48 or something, the one where they put together essentially a all-girls brothel and occasionally they sing. But they put out stuff for different comedians out in Japan, like the guys who did Game Center CX. But this is the first U.S. comedian they've done this with, so I guess we can someday look forward to downloading official Stephen Colbert or official, who's also a reasonably decent comedian. Personally, I wouldn't mind downloading, like, say, the cast of Big Bang Theory or something, but we'll see what they do with this. Also, Nintendo has a spokesdog now for Nintendogs. They chose Uggy, who was in the movie The Artist, which won an Academy Award. We didn't really cover the Academy Awards either. We were supposed to do a pre-show for it. We never really got around to it, and But yeah, The Artist won Best Picture, which I guess it was okay. But then, like, I think in the animated section, Rango won Best Animated Picture, which was also an awesome movie. But anyways, here's the thing. They picked Uggy, their Nintendogs spokesdog, from that movie to be the Nintendogs spokesdog for Nintendo. And he shows up in some of their press events, and it's just weird. They also gave out recently, through GameStop's Epic Awards, one of those life-size Mario Karts that we covered before. It's not the Luigi one, but it's the Mario one. It works, and they gave it to some kid out somewhere. I wrote down the address somewhere because I was going to go and kill him for it, but I decided not to. Too messy. Not really worth my time to go out and kill him for a Mario Kart. He'll probably sell it later on to support his crack habit. But, yes. So anyways, March 9th, actually, a bit after we record this, Sony will be announcing a huge... They're having their own Nintendo Direct type of conference, but instead of being like, we surrender to you, Nintendo, it's Sony coming out and saying, hey, guess what? That Vita, huh? We're selling like something. And on March 9th, we're going to announce games. Lots of games. So I'm actually hoping to see some pretty good stuff on that. Looking forward to that. Because, well, it'd be nice to see some more downloadable games. By the way, Unit 13 came out, and that's from the people who made SOCOM. A demo for it, I think, is available on the Vita shop, and that might be worth a download. Haven't checked it out myself, but it might be worth it. What have I been checking out myself? Well, there was Super Stardust Delta, and that came out, and that was reasonably priced, and I was like, okay, I can spare about $5 or so. And that's really fun. It's exactly like a better version of the PS3 one that I can play on the go. I really liked Super Stardust Portable on the Sony PSP and PSP Go, and Super Stardust Delta on the Vita is pretty great. As for the cartridgey games for it, who knows? Maybe there'll be sales. There has to be sales at some point. One thing I did notice, actually running through this, some of the demos are the same size as the actual game to download. But yeah, let's get down to a little bit what we've been doing on the website. So we're going to be revamping animationisart.com. So if you're listening to this particular broadcast after Anime Land Wasabi, which we're covering this weekend, we will be launching the animationisart.com remix soon, because we're actually going to be looking at locations next week. Once we have that information, we have teaser stuff up on our Flickr account and on the Animation is Art Facebook page, but we're going to have more soon. So yes, things are finally getting on the way. It's kind of it's kind of irritating when you go in and you're looking for help from the bank and such, and they're like, well, we'd like to do this and this, but then they point out that yes, there was some regulation enacted in 2009 and 2010 that restricts what businesses that banks can help with. And right now, it's because we have, the coconut in chief, and some of the people that have a name that starts with D, I think it stands for dumb, in the legislative branch of our government put together some rules which were intended to prevent an Enron, but don't. Instead, they prevent small businesses. So, that's just irritating, horrible, and I hope that those people, when they're trying to sleep soundly at night, I hope they fall off the bed and hurt themselves. Absolutely. I hope Bo bites him on the leg. That's the only decent member of that particular family. Anyways, going back to video games, there was also a big to-do, or a big kerfluffle, about The Binding of Isaac by Team Meat. Now, Team Meat, they made Super Meat Boy, and then they also made a couple little small iPhone games which were critical to the iPhone market, and those were pulled. Like, they had one which was called, Zit Popper or something like that, and then they started just pushing the price up for it until somebody paid about $300 for it or something like that. And they're trying, the person in charge, I think Ed McMillan or something, was trying to make a point about iPhone games. You see, they also were working on a port of Super Meat Boy for the Nintendo Wii, which they canceled because they're like, well, we can't really fit it into this bandwidth framework that you need to fit it into. I know that that's under non-disclosure agreement, but I'm going to complain on public forums like NeoGAF and Reddit and Twitter about how unfair this particular limit is, and how I couldn't get around it, so I'm canceling this game. And that caused a huge mess. Then they said some disparaging things about the Nintendo WiiWare service at GDC one year, as well as some disparaging stuff about the Apple iOS store. and they were pulled from the Apple Store, and they haven't released a game with the Nintendo WiiWare store. So anyways, they come up and they're like, hey, guess what? We got this little twin-stick shooter called The Binding of Isaac that's loosely based off of, say, the Westboro Baptist Church and the Binding of Isaac story in the Bible, that has you play a naked child running through basement dungeons, shooting tears at walking vaginas, throwing menstrual blood at you, and sometimes you can find you have a power-up fetus that follows you, and you can make a contract with the devil, and it's, hey, Nintendo, will you publish our game? Because, we were looking at this, and, well... And then Nintendo's like, well, let's see. You've badmouthed us before in the past about the WiiWare. You caused a huge mess with that. You broke our non-disclosure agreement, and you want us to publish this game about child abuse. Sure. No, actually, they said no. They said no. And he went on Twitter and said, oh, they said no, it's censorship from Nintendo. It's the Mortal Kombat days all over again. You know what? Nintendo kind of stopped censoring stuff past the N64. I mean, okay, the N64 had 2 instances of actual censorship in it. I mean, let's see, we had Islamic chants taken out of the Ocarina of Time, and then the the crescent moon symbol taken out of Ocarina of Time. They took those out because the Gerudo Valley, essentially, Ganon's storyline in Ocarina of Time is based off the 10th Imam, and that, I guess, angered some people in the Muslim community, which I suppose I can understand, but I think they need to get over it. They really need to get over it. Yes, you have this rich culture in the Quran, and there's so much interesting stuff in it. Why can't? I know your religion says that you shouldn't have any type of images of it, but mine doesn't. So you know what? You don't have any respect for my religion, and we don't see any respect for it in the media. Why can't I have Islamic prayer songs in part of the Fire Temple in the Ocarina of Time? Yeah, that was really the last time Nintendo censored anything. In fact, they didn't censor anything during the GameCube. There's some ridiculous stuff that happens in Eternal Darkness or Killer 7 or No More Heroes. In fact, No More Heroes and Killer 7 were censored on some of the places they were ported to. Sony actually censored Killer 7 when it got ported over to the PlayStation 2, whereas Nintendo just let everything fly with it. So, honestly, I do not feel that as kind of insensitive or kind of gross the content was in Binding of Isaac. I feel that Nintendo probably did not refuse it over censorship. I think they refused it because the people at Team Meat that were putting it out are disrespectful and didn't follow the NDA like they were supposed to. And besides, I honestly feel that Nintendo was like, hey guys, you haven't finished a game yet. You want us to put this thing here, which is going to have a lot of clamoring, and we're going to have to be very careful with marketing it. But how about you put a game out first? And you know what? This is my little call out to Team Meat. I would love a port of Super Meat Boy for the Nintendo 3DS eShop. I would buy that, and I will buy that if you make it. And it will get published. And once that's published, why don't you look at some of the other stuff that you have, like Cannibalt? I would love to have Cannibalt on the 3DS eShop. Let's look at that, at Cannibalt and Super Meat Boy. Let's get them on the eShop and then come back and say, hey, we've got these 2 wildly successful games on the eShop. How about Binding of Isaac? And Nintendo will probably say, well, when you phrase it that way, go for it. Because you can, there's, actually they started putting age gates in the Nintendo eShop for some reason. They did release demos. There was the Metal Gear Solid demo. Actually, yeah, I talked about that a little bit on I think Cross Border Gaming, because I've been on an episode or so, and Sarah and I have been on an episode since the last time we recorded one of these episodes. But yes, so that's what we've been up to mostly. That's the news, that's the opinions on it, and let me go ahead and mention a little bit about what we're doing. This weekend we're covering Anime Land Wasabi at the Red Lion in Aurora, Colorado. And we're going to be doing interviews and taking pictures of people with Squishy and doing lots and lots of street passing. Lots and lots of street passing. Lots and lots of street passing. And pictures. Lots of pictures, maybe some video. It's going to be pretty great. And we're looking forward to covering it. And since there is a bit of a tradition that we have before we go to any convention, we're going to go ahead and do this now. If this type of thing offends you, just kind of lightly hum to yourself for about the next minute or two, because we're about to get a little biblical in here. So anyways, before we go to any convention, I usually like to say a little bit of a prayer before that. So, if you're listening and you are of this persuasion, go ahead and bow your head for a little bit and join me in this. Dear God, we're starting out on another convention here in Aurora, Colorado with Anime Land Wasabi. And please protect everyone related to it. Thank you very much for everything you've done to help the people in charge of it get this show together and get it ready for us. Help everyone there to have fun and to have fun safely, and keep an aura of protection over the entirety of that convention throughout this weekend and onward, and just keep everyone safe and help everyone to have a lot of fun. Just be safe, help everyone be safe, have fun, and in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And that was our traditional prayer that we say before these, because we're not really driving a lot for this. In fact, it's pretty much like less than 3 miles away. Looking forward to covering it because I can go back home at the end of the night and upload new pictures. Where our goal this year, we did about 300-something pictures last year. We did about 500 pictures at the non-DESCON New Year's Eve celebration. So I'm sure we can do definitely better than that for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday convention. Many of our guests that we had before on previous episodes of Radio DMG will be back. So we're going to do a little follow-up stuff with that, see what they're up to. And it's going to be pretty good. And of course, when we meet again, we'll cover what happened at the Sony PS Vita conference, which is going to be pretty cool. Oh, GDC happened this week, by the way. Nintendo put out a thing announcing what eShop titles are coming out, and Renegade Kid, the people who made Mutant Mudds, which is awesome, you should check it out. They're making a new game called Bomb Monkey. Get dizzy. Anyways, actually it's just Bomb Monkey, and it looks interesting. It's kind of another 12-bit game, kind of like they were saying, where somewhere between 8-bit and 16-bit, and that's all we know about it is the name and a little bit of pixel art. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. And then Nintendo also announced that, like I said, Game Gear games next week, which are Sonic, Triple Trouble, or whatever you want to call it, Shinobi, and something like Dragon Star or something like that. It was a roguelike type game. Those come out next week, and also in April, they're going to be releasing Colors 3D, which is it was a homebrew drawing program for the Nintendo DS. Now, the 3DS version of it It's also on the iOS. But the 3DS version of it allows you to paint using vectors with a maximum resolution of 9,999 by 9,999. And you can put these out as vectors, SVG files. And that's insane. Because, hey, actually just recently at the iPad 3 unveiling, they were talking about how you can output things at resolutions that mini screens can't handle. The Nintendo 3DS can now do that with vector-based graphics, where vectors are pretty great, actually. Looking forward to editing stuff with that. I might actually I might bring back some older comics with that, which we do have a plan for what's left of Snowflake Studios, because we have all the comics. I have all that, and I've got a plan for it, so hold on tight for that. We'll also be launching something, our Nintendo Network page, because we have Pushmo puzzles, freaky forums creatures, friend codes, and special me's, and special backgrounds and things, and Mario Kart 7 communities, and we'll probably have a community for Kid Icarus at some point, and just all sorts of stuff that's going to be awesome, that's going to be coming out soon, and very soon. So, that's it for our show today, actually. It's been a bit short, because, well, time is of the essence, and we really need to finish up the stuff here, because we're going to go and head on out to the Red Lion to, take a look at the pre-something or others for Anime Land Wasabi. People are packing up and going in, and hey, we're going to get street passes. So if you're in Aurora, you'll probably will be going there instead of listening to when this gets up there later tonight. But hey, look forward to it. Also look forward to our coverage of Anime Land Wasabi. We already have a button up over at DMGice.com. And while you're over there, it wouldn't hurt you if you would donate to us. We do have an Amazon button. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll find the Amazon and eStarland buttons. And if you go to Amazon through that link, you'll be able to access, we'll be able to buy stuff, and we'll get a small cut of it. Why not go and buy yourself why not go there and treat yourself to a Nintendo 3DS or a PlayStation Vita, and go through that link so that we get a small percentage of that. You're helping support us, because this is all coming out of our pocket. We need support from listeners like you. And that's the rest of the story. But yeah, you can do that with eStarland, where you can find some really awesome retro games. You can also do that with Amazon, or you can donate directly to us via our PayPal. And we do appreciate that. Also, we'll have something up. Maybe we could do a Kickstarter or something and be like, hey, I'd like a soundboard so I can start recording Skype calls. Because once we have a sound mixer, once we have a sound mixer and I can start recording Skype calls, we'll be able to get in some pretty crazy guests. And you know you want more guests. In fact, within our first 25 shows, we had a ton of those were guests. And it'll be great. But yeah, we'd like you to support us at that. And we're also going to be launching an Audible website for Radio DMG, and I'll have more details on that up soon. Probably in the next one, we'll have an ad. Yeah, we took out the disclaimer so we can mess around with the opening sound files, and then also so we can put in ads. We'll do a longer form show later on, and before I go, I'd like to give shout-outs to some of our friends and stuff, because we normally don't do this stuff. We normally don't do the housekeeping. I forget, or I'm just like, I'm tired. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go ahead and give a little shout-out to Cross Border Gaming. That's where Harold, the H-Bomb, Price, and Frank E-Master, I forgot what his last name is, they have this show. They talk about stuff. I usually disagree with them on some stuff. I'm on there occasionally, and when I'm on there, I drop offensiveness, because that's kind of what I do on their show. Their show's a little bit more risque, and I'm there to just drop the offensiveness. I don't do that as much here. I might say horrible things, or imply horrible things, but I save the offensiveness for theirs. That's kind of like an exclusive thing when I can. And then also I'd like to go ahead and, they're found at crossbordergaming.com. And they're on Twitter and all that jazz. Actually, I need to really write down some type of speech for this. But yes, please. We're also going to start also reading emails or tweets that we get if people send those in or if they respond. So if you're following us on Twitter, it's twitter.com. You're looking for at DMG Ice, or at Animation is Art, all one word. There's also facebook.com /official DMG Ice or / Animation is Art. We're also on Flickr, but you can subscribe to us from there via dmgice.com. And just pretty much go to dmgice.com. There's buttons there. You click on those. You follow us on Facebook. You like us on Facebook. You stalk us on Twitter. You subscribe to us on YouTube. You subscribe to us on Flickr. That. Go and do that. Please. We're not begging or anything. We're not begging the government to do that. No. Anyways, that's just it. So, I guess for now, that's the whole point of the house cleaning and this rambling. But yeah, this has been an episode of Radio DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley. We'll see you on Monday with a new episode after Anime Land Wasabi with me, your host, Phil Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and you next couple days on Monday. See you Monday, and good night.
Morning, Maya.